All righty. Good evening, my fellow Toastmasters. I hope, and guests, if there are any, hope everybody was able to enjoy this last weekend, this long 3-day weekend on Labor Day. As we start our meeting, I'll ask that we do our best to avoid any distractions during this call. And next, let's start with, we'll continue with our Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And now I'll pass the baton over to Sastry Stewart.
Hi guys. Thank you, Ray, for that. I really appreciate it. I'm glad to be back with you guys. I had a wonderful 1 week off, which, I mean, you don't know how impactful 1 week off is until you do take that time off. So I'm glad to be back here with you guys. I'll state our mission statement, which is to provide a supportive and positive learning experience in which members are empowered to develop communication and leadership skills, resulting in greater self-confidence. And because of the efforts of Stacy and Shay in organizing this breakout room, I don't even think that we need to really highlight our guests because we found out so many insightful things about them. So I'll just move on to our meeting. So our Toastmaster of the day is Sobia, and it's my pleasure to introduce her. I'm glad to see the growth and the impact that she's having on our club. So please put your hands together to welcome our Toastmaster of the day, the one and only Sobia Saeed.
Thank you, Mr. President. I hope all is having a nice evening. So the theme of our meeting today is preparation. The word of the day and the table topic will reflect the theme of the meeting today. So at this time, please welcome Toastmaster Michael Gunduso for invocation. I hope I pronounce it right.
Yes, thank you. Preparation, I love this theme. I work in construction, I'm an engineer, and I have a quote to leave you with. And the quote is, 6 hours to chop down a tree, and I will spend the first 4 sharpening the axe. Abraham Lincoln. So prepare in advance and you will be successful. Thank you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Michael. So as Toastmaster of the day, I serve as your master of ceremony. For the benefit of our guests, which I see quite a few we have here, and new members, a traditional Toastmaster meeting has 3 sections. 1, formal speeches, then table topics, and lastly, all evaluations. So please use the private chat box for the Zoom feature to provide feedback to your speakers or other roles, functionaries. I would strongly encourage you to provide feedback to the speakers and other functionaries, suggestion being 2 areas that you enjoyed about the role and 1 to 2 areas that can be improved. Throughout the meeting, our members will have the opportunity to practice their listening, critical thinking, and management skills by serving in various roles. Toastmaster Ray Melendez, please explain your role as an eye counter. Thank you.
As eye counter, thank you, Toastmaster. As eye counter of the day, the purpose of the eye counter is to note of any words or sound used as a crutch by anyone who speaks during the meeting. Words such as may be inappropriate interjections. I will be playing the following sound. Second here. When we hear these interjections. Thank you, Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you, Toastmaster Ray Melendez. And I heard the bell when I did the double start, so I think it's going to be an awesome night with counting your counters. Toastmaster Michael Gunduso, please explain your role as a grammarian or wordmaster.
Thank you, Toastmaster. One benefit of Toastmasters is that it helps people improve their grammar and word use. Being grammarian provides an exercise in expanding listening skills. I have several responsibilities to introduce new words to members, to comment on the language used during the course of the meeting and to provide examples of eloquence. Within our theme of preparation, I chose the word proactive as the word of the day. It's defined as creating or controlling a situation by causing something to happen rather than responding to it after it has already happened. Used in a sentence, be proactive in identifying and preventing potential problems. I encourage anyone speaking during any part of the meeting to use proactive, our word of the day. Thank you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Michael. Toastmaster Micheline Numbhart, please explain your role as a general timer. Toastmaster Micheline.
Master of the day. I am responsible for monitoring time for each speaker. I operate the timing signal to indicate speech length. The timing begins when the person, the first definite verbal or nonverbal communication with the audience. As a general timer, whomever is speaking and has the control of the meeting, please pay attention to the red behind me, as this means you get to wrap up where you are as quickly, professionally, efficiently as possible. Thank you, Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you, Toastmaster Micheline Numbhart. Toastmaster Justin Quinn, please explain your role as a general evaluator.
Thank you, Toastmaster of the day. If one thinks of a club meeting as a project, then think of a general evaluator as the quality control manager. I'll be commenting on the overall flow of today's meeting and giving feedback. Back to you, Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you, Toastmaster Justin Quinn. So let's move on to the first part of our meeting. So the first section of our meeting is the formal speeches, which are prepared speeches based on specific projects in our communication manuals or our pathway program. This evening, we have 3 speakers. Toastmaster Brendan McCauley, please provide us with the project information for our first speaker. Toastmaster Brendan.
Thank you. So the purpose for Mark's speech tonight is to present a speech on any topic, receive feedback, and also apply that feedback to a second speech. His speech will be between 5 to 7 minutes, and then he'll incorporate that in his second 5 to 7 minute speech. Thank you, Toastmaster.
Thank you, Toastmaster Brandon. The pathway or the speech pathways for Mark Kessler, Toastmaster Mark Kessler, is Dynamic Leadership, Level 1. And the speech title is Revealing the Authentic You. Mark Kessler was born in Philadelphia, lives in Lake Worth. Mark has been married for 37 years to Stacy Kessler and has 2 boys, 23 and 25. Mark has been in business with his wife for over 32 years together. Mark will reveal his authentic self. Mark will share with you how it came to be his realization of being inauthentic and the effect it has had on his life. So please welcome Toastmaster Mark.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, distinguished guests, and honored dignitaries. I'd like to start off with the meaning of authentic self. It means to point out our original thoughts, our original beliefs, and our genuine feelings and behaviors. It means to finally bring us home to our souls. We look for the self within. The reason why I brought this up is it a topic that was important to me. I discovered, and how I'll show you, is 3 different points on how that I discovered myself was coming across as an inauthentic man. It started off with the discovery of a meeting that I was invited to about finding the authentic you. When I came to the meeting, I had no expectations, and I went there with an open mind. What I discovered was something very valuable that I was able to take back in my life. It showed me how I've been so inauthentic with myself in my life. It showed me that there were ways that I was showing up that did not serve me or my family. So when he asked me to come up with a way that I was going to show myself that I was not being an authentic man, you thought of a one process. So it would have been my mother-in-law. And I saw how I was not able to really be my authentic self with her, because I was always showing a different side of me that did not show me the real person, the true person that I was. And from that time, I'm going to show you something that seems more of like a mental gymnastics show here, but stay with me because it will make sense. So in the beginning, when we first are born, we're born as perfect, whole, and complete. We don't have cultures or domestication that we're brought into in understanding from our parents and society and the world around us. What I learned, and if I look back as far, it would probably have been when I was born, when I was just in a place where I was not showing up with all of these changes within my mind of how I had to be, how I had to act, how I had to work with society and culture and friends and relationships. And so then I discovered that it was an act. The act was the performances that I showed up as. So if I was at a job, I would perform and talk to people in a certain way. If I was with a relationship, I had to act a certain way, become nice so that I felt like I was being liked and that I really wasn't in that moment feeling like I was being nice. I wasn't being true to myself. And I was looking for a way from that meeting to discover how I can be proactive about changing the person that I was. And I did. I started making real decisions based on these facts that I learned about myself and realizing that I was not serving myself as a human being and being an authentic man. I'd like to share a quote with you that is from Carl Jung. The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are. And that was something that really resonated with me, to show myself that in order to be the kind of person I wanted to be, I had to be true, authentic, open-minded, open-hearted. And from that, it allowed me to become a better man to myself, a better friend to myself, a better person to the people around me when I'm speaking from a true and open-hearted place within my life. And what I'd like to share with you is, how can you start an authentic life moving forward? And there was 8 points that I came up with that I'd like to share with you in order for you to realize how you too can to create an authentic life for yourself. It would be, let your inner light be your guide. Be your highest self. Speak with truth. Have an open mind. Have an open heart. And connect with your gut. And so with this, I'd like to say, I thank you, fellow Toastmasters, for your time tonight. And I hope tomorrow brings you a better space of being an authentic person. Thank you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Mark Kessler. At this time, I would, first I would like to say something about this. That is so true. So most of that, I also have realized since I've joined Toastmaster, that how I was not very authentic to myself too. And you learn quite a new things when you are trying to be true to yourself and to your family. Thank you, Mark, for bringing our attention to this. And at this point, I would like to ask our timer, Michelin Numhard, was our speaker, was it within time?
Yes, speaker is within time.
Thank you. Toastmaster Stacy Kessler, would you please provide us with the project information of our second speaker?
Yes, Toastmaster of the day. Good evening, fellow Toastmasters, and Natifa. Natifa's project this evening, her purpose is to learn or review basic research and present a well-organized, well-researched speech on any topic of her choice. We have a chat bar on the side, although I am Natifa's official evaluator, my invitation to you is to give Natifa feedback on these 3 areas that she has asked me to pay full attention to, which is effective communication, being articulate in the way she speaks, and eloquent. The chat bar, you can send her a private message. We encourage you to do that for each one of our speakers, as we all love to hear your feedback. That is why we're here as fellow Toastmasters. Toastmaster of the Day.
Thank you, Toastmaster Stacy. So our speaker, second speaker today, Natifa Ofari Atta, her pathways is presentation mastery. She's also in her level 1, and her speech title today is Africa, the Caribbean Savior. Natifa, this is Natifa's 3rd speech. She is passionate about the growth and development of all global Africans. Her speech today will explore the possibilities that Africa has to offer Africans of the diaspora. I hope I said it right.
Yes.
So please welcome speaker Natifa Ofari.
Good evening, fellow Toastmasters, Madam Toastmaster, dignitaries, guests. When one thinks about the Caribbean, the first thought that usually permeates their minds are lots of golden sunshine, crystal clear beaches, thrilling nightlife, or hypnotic, scenic nature, a little taste of what their vision of heaven is like. With all its charm and beauty, there lies this terror that most tourists don't talk about, and that, my friends, are natural disasters. By the show of hands, who has experienced a natural disaster? I know hurricanes for sure, since we live in Florida. The Caribbean is situated in the very warm North Atlantic region, which is prone to yearly hurricanes. On September 6, 2017, while I lived in St. Thomas, U.S. Virgin Islands, I experienced the devastating blow of the Category 5 Hurricane Irma. And on September 20th, 2017, 2 weeks later, another Category 5 named Maria also devastated my island home, Dominica. The destruction was unparalleled. The trauma was excruciating. Hurricanes are a part of our way of life. We've been living and thriving despite the fact. However, these hurricanes are only getting worse. Growing up in Dominica, there was no Category 5 hurricanes. It was unprecedented. What I saw that morning when I got out of my house after Irma was unfathomable. I stood in a complete state of shock. The entire island was decimated. Hurricane Maria hit 2 weeks later, only to continue the wreckage. By that time, my husband and I were asking questions. You know, those thought-provoking questions about life? Because for what we experienced was confusing. I couldn't reach my family in Dominica. I received calls from my friends in the US saying that Dominica was leveled by Hurricane Maria and that the Prime Minister's house was damaged. He was hauled out of his home by a helicopter. I thought to myself that if the Prime Minister, who is rich, lives in a mansion, was rescued by being pulled out of his damaged house, then what of my people that lived in a small house in a village? Then what about my village, my island? The weight of my thoughts and the unknown brought me to my knees. A few days later, I finally heard from them. I couldn't imagine the tales, and I had just been through 2 Category 5s myself. What Maria did to Dominica was apocalyptic. The morning after Maria's wrath in Dominica, my brother and my 2 sisters trekked 9 miles on the mountain, ascending and descending, cutting through piles and piles of felled trees, light posts, rocks, debris, and all other sorts of things. In search of our older sister and her family, and my brother's girlfriend and her daughter. When they finally arrived at my brother's girlfriend's village, they were unable to find her house. Although they stood at the site of where her house once was, there was absolutely nothing left. While standing there in a state of panic and fear, another villager appeared, approached them, and told them that Kimara, my brother's girlfriend, made it out alive. Kimara and her daughter survived Maria in a bathtub. They watched as each wall ripped from its structure, leaving them exposed to the elements. It was the same for my older sister that lived another few miles out. She had to flee her house because her house could no longer protect her. She survived with her 4 children and her husband under an unfinished concrete building, exposed also to the elements. My aunt and her daughter in my village were dragged out of their house by the Caribbean Sea. They ended up in the ocean. Thankfully, they survived. I could go on and on about these stories. These hurricanes created a broken people. Hopelessness, fear, and anger filled the void where their peace once resided. Now imagine going through this ordeal every year. How sustainable is this? It is not. To live in a perpetual state of worry, fear, and also rebuilding. The infrastructure of these islands are constantly being damaged, the economy is always fickle, and the future is unstable. There is no way for a people to survive, since every year they have to repair a roof or build a new house, rebuild the infrastructure which never gets completed, only for the uncompleted structures to be destroyed again the following year. This is a situation that allows a people to be in an infinite state of poverty, which encourages a cycle of incessant begging for aid from other countries. So what's the solution, you might ask? Well, the following year in 2018, my family decided that being in the Caribbean during the hurricane season was not the wisest of choices. So we went to Africa for 3 months. Whilst being there, we saw uninhabited land as far as the eyes can see. Africa's population is 1.2 billion people and 11,700,000 square miles. It could easily fit China, the US, Europe, and India, and still have room for extra. 75% of the continent is uninhabited. The population of the Caribbean is 43,566,771, which means that the population of the Caribbean could occupy way less than 75%. The culture is similar. The climate is familiar with no yearly natural disasters. What I am talking about, my friends, is human migration, a migration of a people for survival. Thank you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Latifa. I'm sorry, you were coming in and out, but still, thank you so much for providing us with all these facts, which I am not honestly aware of, and giving us some ideas how we can proactively do something to avoid, these disasters and these situations. Now we'll move on to our third speaker, our Toastmaster Susanna Tuladar. Please provide us with the project information of our third speaker, Toastmaster Susanna.
Thank you, Toastmaster of the day, Javier Perez. His pathway is motivational strategies. Tonight, he will be giving us his icebreaker speech, which is going to be between 4 to 6 minutes. And project title for his icebreaker is Journey to Somewhere. Tonight, Javier will be sharing with us about himself and his journey. He would be sharing us where he came from, where he has been, and where he is going. Toastmaster of the Day.
Thank you, Toastmaster Susanna Tovar. So our speaker for tonight, Javier Perez, his pathways is motivational strategies. He's also in his level 1. Today is his icebreaker. And the speech title is Journey to Somewhere. That sounds very interesting. Javier recently joined our club and is working on his motivational strategies pathway. Today, he will be delivering his icebreaker and will take us on a quick tour through his journey to somewhere. Please help me welcome our newest Toastmaster, Javier Perez.
Thank you, Toastmasters of the Day. First of all, can you hear me well?
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you, Toastmasters. Good evening, fellow Toastmasters. Welcome to our guests and dignitaries. Arthur Ashe said that the journey is more important than the destination. I say that unless we can stop time, there's no such thing as a destination. My name is Javier Perez, and I recently rejoined Wellington Toastmasters after a long break, and I'm working on the motivational strategies pathways. My goals are to become a powerful and effective communicator, build connections with people around me, and motivating teams to lead and accomplish goals. As I begin my new pathway, I would like to take each of you on a quick tour through my journey to somewhere. I ask that you please buckle up and get ready to travel to know where I came from, what have I done, and where the heck am I going? So I am from the Generation X, born in 1979 in Venezuela, and I'm the son of an American mother and a Venezuelan father. Who cherished my childhood through love and Jesus Christ, helping others, education, and hard work. In my childhood, I built endless memories, visiting gorgeous beaches in the Caribbean. I went through breathtaking wilderness, and I had warm connections with the happy people of Venezuela. However, the reality started to hit during my teenage. At age 15, 2 days after my birthday, my dad passed away. Not only that was a big hit emotionally for the family, but we went completely poor the day after, as he was the only source of income. That event alone made me and my siblings grow exponentially to what was expected from you at that time. In my early adulthood, I actually had to make probably the toughest decision of my life, as I was seeing the socialist movement working to destroy what was once the fourth largest economy in the world. I made the decision to leave home and move to the United States. And that set my life forever. So what have I done? Where have I been? What goals have I achieved? How many failures I have had? I can tell you that I have failed many times, but every key goal in my life I've been able to achieve. I think that early departure of my father made me wanted to have a family like never before. And I'm happily married with 2 beautiful kids where I'm trying to pass over to them the same love and caring for people that was passed on to me. I've been an actor, I've been a soccer player, and I've been a professional engineer. But there's something interesting on all of those goals that I have achieved. When I was a soccer player and I reached 2nd division of professional soccer, I was a step away of having a professional career. I quickly realized this is not what I want for the rest of my life. And I continue with my path. Then when I tried to be an actor, which by the way, I was a terrible actor, I made it somewhere. I got to be an actor in a soap opera, a very terrible role, but I made it there. I was in front of the cameras, working with people that were very famous. And as I saw the environment and I reached that goal, and I'm like, if I do a little bit more, I might have that mediocre role over and over. I realized this is not it. This is not where I want to be in life. So I continue my pursuing the engineering degree, And I started my career as an engineer and had different roles that built my reputation and something that I like to do. And one of my biggest moments in my career was AT&T. Going back to what Natifa was talking about, the Caribbeans, I was put on an airplane in 2007 to Puerto Rico to help rebuild the telecommunication infrastructure of Puerto Rico and the US Virgin Islands. And everything that Natifa told you, it is true. I did fly to San Thomas and it was completely devastated. But there's something interesting in that story. In that story, I used to be a Toastmasters back then, and thanks to an interview that I did, it made it into a LinkedIn story, and I was soon scouted by Facebook. So I traveled to Facebook. I went to work for Facebook. I went to Silicon Valley and I said, that is it. And I went to Silicon Valley and I was traveling the world trying to solve connectivity issues. And I got to the same conclusion. This is not it. So I can tell you one thing. I have failed a lot and I have achieved all my goals. But if you ask the question, where the heck are you going? I can tell you for sure that I don't know. And it was thanks to this icebreaker that I realized a few things. I learned that achieving a goal is not the end. Rather, it's the beginning of a new journey. I have also learned that in my successes and in my failures, I have met wonderful people along the way that to celebrate with or to get support. And fellow Toastmasters, Lewis Carroll said, if you don't know where you're going, any road will take you there. And he will call me crazy. And I will agree. Nevertheless, was the family foundations instilled in me, was the knowledge gained through my successes and failures, and through the guidance of Jesus Christ, I am very confident that at least I'm going to avoid the evil path, that I will continue to be alive by exposing me to new journeys. And as I'm doing right now, I'll get to meet great people like you in my journey to somewhere. Toastmasters of the day.
Thank you, Toastmaster Javier Perez. Thank you for sharing your personal life experiences with us and being so truthful and showing us what keeps you motivated. And I love how you said achieving a goal is not the end, rather it's the beginning of a new journey. So that is very true. We need to remember this. So at this time, we are going to move on to this. Okay, brief timers report. Can we have a brief timers report at this time?
All speakers were within time.
Okay, thank you, Toastmaster Natifa. Members and guests, as a gentle reminder, please give your feedback to the speakers via Zoom platform and place your feedback in the private message box if you can. And again, the suggestion being a couple of points that you liked and 1 or 2 points that speaker could work on for improvement. So now we move on to the second section of our meeting, which is table topics. And this is an opportunity for members to develop their extemporaneous speaking skills. This is impromptu speaking. Guests are also encouraged to participate. So all guests here, would you like to participate today? I think we have Matthew, Maribel, Woodland. Okay. So please welcome Toastmaster Shay Grieve as our topic master, and our Toastmaster, our guest Woodland, show that thumbs up that he's willing to participate this time. Please welcome Toastmaster Shay.
Thank you, Toastmaster Sobia. The Table Topics Master gives the members who are not assigned a significant speaking role the opportunity to speak during the meeting. Please pay attention to our timing signals and utilize as much of the 2 minutes as you can. Timer, will you demonstrate the timing signals now? It's 1 to 2 minutes.
Okay, at 1 minute, I'll show the green card. At 1.5 minutes, I'll show the yellow card. At 2 minutes, I'll show the red card and you have 30 seconds to wrap up.
Thank you, timer. The topic will be repeated 2 times. It's time to get super present and focused now, as I will be calling on you after I've stated the topics. The table topics reflects the theme of the meeting, which is preparation for today. Please use the word of the week, proactive, as well as any other word you can recall from prior meetings. Our word of the week, again, is proactive. You are an award-winning icon, delivering an inspirational speech. Preparation is your focus. Give us a sample. Toastmaster Connie Andrews. Toastmaster Connie Andrews. You are an award-winning icon, delivering an inspirational speech. Preparation is your focus. He's given us a sample.
Good evening, fellow Toastmasters, guests, dignitaries. I am so honored this evening. I don't have anything prepared for you this evening. I am in shock that you have chosen me as your award winner. Preparation is the foundation of everything in my life. It takes 9 months to prepare to have a baby. It takes a lifetime of preparation to bring that baby up. Everything that I have done, and the older that I get, the more practice that I have, provides me with more preparation. I really don't mind when I fall and stumble in life. I actually embrace it most times, because I know that every time that I fall and stumble, I get up and I get another chance to prepare to be the best version of myself and to be vulnerable. And that is what I believe is the reason maybe you have awarded me this honor this evening tonight. I hope that you do see that in everything that I do in my life. Thank you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Connie. Awesome, awesome speech. Tell us a story that best defines what preparation looks like for you right now. Tell us a story that best defines what preparation looks like for you right now. Jack Miller.
Okay. Preparation. Wow, that's a tough one for me. I'm so fly by the seat of the pants and get it done. But I do know, and I understand the axiom, the 7 P's of success. Prior preparation prevents piss poor performance. And I've definitely lived it and experienced it many times. Preparation is taking the time to understand your endeavor. If you're traveling to a place, to read about that place, to talk to people about that place. If you're giving a talk, if you're needing to do something, learning, reading. I like to spend time every single morning reading so that I get an idea of where I'm going in life, so that when chaos hits, I'm the guy you want to call. To prepare for chaos isn't my greatest trait, but when it's there, I'm there to handle it and handle it for anybody and everybody and be of greatest service I can, because in a way I've prepared my whole life. I prepared by understanding natural disasters. When hurricanes get, there's a part of me that says service is where I gotta be to get as close as I can to serving. And if it's not here, serve someone else someplace because they need it. Send some money to help the people that need it. Natifa, your story had me in tears. Having lived through hurricanes and knowing that our brothers and sisters in New Orleans are going through it tonight as we speak, they're getting hit by another hurricane. It's a natural disaster, but it's the way nature works. Nature makes us stronger by preparing for the next catastrophic event that's going to happen, whether it's the fires in California, the hurricane in New Orleans, the earthquakes, the tsunamis. They hit us all in the world. When we don't have the chaos of nature kicking our tail a little bit, we become weak. These are the things that strengthen us. The natural catastrophes that occur all around the world. Pain and suffering were put there as stimulus for growth, progress, and opportunity. When we accept everything that comes our way with gratitude, there can be no greater preparation than being thankful for the next event in your life. Whatever it is, how bad it is, how good it is, take a moment to say, thank you, Father, help me, let's go. Blessing.
Thank you, Toastmaster Jack Miller. When you hear the word preparation, who do you think of? When you hear the word preparation, who do you think of? Woodland.
When I hear the word preparation, I think of nobody. As of right now, I don't know what to say.
Who or what do you think of?
I'm sorry.
Just lean into it. It's okay.
Nothing comes into my mind right now.
Okay, good job. Thank you. That's all for tonight. Thank you, Toastmasters, and yes, Woodland, for participating.
Thank you, Toastmaster Shay. Again, can we have a brief timers report, and can we vote at this time if it's okay?
We have 3 speakers, and 1, Connie, was met and Jack went over. That's my report.
Thank you, Toastmaster Micheline Nimhart.
Thank you.
Toastmaster Stacy, are we doing the voting right now, or we can move on to we'll do it at the end of the meeting?
I believe Shay is getting it prepared. We want to do the vote for the speeches before we start evaluation. So Shay is getting that done at this time.
Okay, thank you, Toastmaster Stacy.
Correction, Ray, are you ready?
No.
Oh, okay, so it was.
So we can move on to our evaluation, then we can do all the voting at the end. Is that okay? President?
Yes, go ahead. Yes, go ahead. Yes.
Thank you, President. So we move on to the 3rd section of our meeting, which is evaluations, which is the gift of instant feedback, a key part of the success of the Toastmasters program. Please welcome Toastmaster Justin Gwynn as our general evaluator this evening. Toastmaster Justin.
Thank you, Toastmaster of the Day. Timer, could you please demonstrate the timing signals for the evaluations?
Sure. Evaluations are 2 minutes. So at 2 minutes, I'll show the green. It's 2 minutes, right? I'm sorry.
3 minutes.
3 minutes, okay. At 2 minutes, I'll show the green card. At 3 minutes, 2 minutes and 30 seconds, I'll show the yellow card. In 3 minutes, I'll show the red card. Sorry. Pass it over back to Toastmaster Justin.
Thank you, Toastmaster.
Thank you, Toastmaster Micheline. Without further ado, evaluating Toastmaster Mark, we have Toastmaster Brennan.
Thank you, Toastmaster Justin. Toastmaster Mark, I just want to say how proud of you I am for tonight's speech and the fact that you were super proactive in preparing for this speech. You completely went above and beyond, and exactly what we had talked about, being your mentor. I was so proud to see so many things that we had discussed that you beautifully worked all that into your speech. When you had first started, you had a beautiful presence about you. You had a great smile. Your lighting was fantastic. All things that I think are truly important for a Toastmaster, especially given this platform of being on Zoom. When you began, you actually defined what your authentic self was. You defined what that means, and you provided clarity to the audience. So if somebody was not sure exactly what that meant, they were fully on board with you from the very beginning. Throughout the speech, you were open. You were vulnerable. You even shared 3-step process that took us through your journey. And you even repeated a couple times the "it showed me" theme. So it really brought us in. It showed me this. It showed me that. It showed me this. And I love that. Also, I think you had great projection. You had great speed, and you had a great pace throughout the entire piece. So I thought that was fantastic. A couple words that I probably recommend for the next speech that you go into. Be careful of your uhs and the ums. I know sometimes going through on a speech that you've really been taking an entire couple of days to prepare, jumping from topics, it can be a little bit of a trip to want to get into that position. My recommendation for next time is maybe pause, take a breath, catch it, because sometimes it's better off to do that so that way you can regain your posture and not have to use a pause word, and then you can go straight into it. The second piece I did notice was there was a lot of glancing upwards, which we have a tendency to do when we think. Nothing wrong with that, but again, maybe take the pause with a breath, maintain the eye focus, and then you can move from there. Overall, I loved, and we even recommended throwing in the quotes. You had thrown in a quote from Carl Jung. I think it worked out fantastic. You even mentioned being true, authentic, I think even open-minded and open-hearted. And you brought in the audience when you give us 8 solid bullet points to follow along with. So well done. My recommendation for your next speech is I would challenge you to throw a little bit more vocal variety and maybe a little bit more tonality. And maybe even bring us in a little bit. Use like a little more emphasis and then pause and then continue through. Outside of that, Mark, fantastic job. You are a beautiful speaker. I can't wait for your next speech. Toastmaster.
Thank you, Toastmaster Brennan. Yes, Mark, that was a fantastic speech, chock full of wonderful quotes that I'm sure we'll hear about later in the grammarian's reports, which will be coming up directly after our evaluations, just as a reminder to our Toastmaster, Michael. Coming up next, we have evaluating Toastmaster Natifa. Please welcome Toastmaster Stacey.
Thank you, Toastmaster of the Day, fellow Toastmasters, our honored dignitary, and Natifa. You nailed this speech in every area possible. I felt like we just lived our lives for the 7 minutes that you spoke. You were felt, you were heard, and you eloquently melted our hearts as you shared this incredible journey of empathy. I mean, you pulled the empathy out of each one of our hearts and had us feel like we were trucking through those hurricanes with and alongside you. And wow, For a Zoom performance, you were able to convey a story, give the purpose of your speech, which was research. This was extremely well researched. We felt like we could take your country and other countries, such as China and the other countries that you mentioned, and plop them right into Africa. Who knew that Africa was that large? It had me feel like, wow, how much more could she share in having a problem, share from the beauty of what you started with. So you started us with complete beauty, golden sunshine, hypnotic nature. Then it came to natural disasters. You brought us through the natural disasters. You shared with us what your family members went through in detail. We could actually feel their pain as you were sharing with us what they had gone through. And not only share their pain, but we could picture the way that you so eloquently articulated your language, which are 2 points that you asked for. You effectively communicated every bit of this story, Natifa. When you were sharing the walk through the Dominic after the decimation, we could relate to also not only how your family was feeling, but how you were feeling, the fear that you were feeling. My heart was racing as you were sharing that. The infrastructure, the financial restructure is what you brought up as the summarization of this speech. And then you came up with a solution for us. You spoke clear, effective, and if I could just recommend a couple of points to you, I believe it was Javier that asked for a sound check. Sound check, I believe, on a Zoom platform is necessary just to ask when you come on to be sure that everyone can hear you. We lost parts of the speech that were so important a little bit with the volume. Also, you used hand gestures well. Maybe when you were speaking to get up and stand up and show us even more so that we were leaning in, you lean in right with us. Great job, Natifa. Evaluator of the evening, general evaluator, Justin, back to you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Stacy. Yes, Natifa, it was a great speech. Your heart definitely breaks every time you see those images of devastation across anywhere in the world, really. Yeah, very sad. Moving on to our last evaluation of the evening. Evaluating Toastmaster Javier, we have Toastmaster Susanna. Please welcome Toastmaster Susanna.
Thank you. Over this weekend, I reached out to Javier regarding what his speech is about. And he mentioned he wanted to focus on 2 areas. Number 1 was, I want to make sure my message is clear. Yes, it was clear. And number 2, he wanted to focus on if his speech will be motivational, inspiring. Yes, and yes. Javier, listening to your speech, it was almost like watching a movie or reading an autobiography. I'm a sucker for that. So I really enjoyed your true story about your life and the way you unreveal from your childhood, like there was lesson learned in every step. When you were a child, when you became a teenager, when you became an actor, a soccer player, and an engineer, and what you are learning today, you don't know your destination, but you're okay with the journey. That's what's most important to you. And every step of this life, one thing was very clear. You failed a lot, but you got up and picked up. The resilience was throughout all stages of your life, and you're still moving on. And it's very inspiring to me, and I hope it's inspiring to all of us tonight. Couple of things from your speech. You had a really good hand gesture. The body language was really good. As I mentioned earlier, the organization was very good. You captured it very well. You began your speech with a powerful quote. you ended your speech with a very powerful quote as well. You were able to even refer to what Natifa was saying. It was this, she just gave the speech like minutes before you came in, and you were able to somehow put that in your speech, and it was perfect as far as the you know, noting down to what the other people were saying in the meeting. The only feedback I have is the eye contact. There you were coming in and out. Your story was very powerful, but you were looking, we were missing your eye contact for a little bit. You will come back in. So for your next speech, I would encourage you to practice more looking at the audience so that we feel it as you were saying it. Not that if we didn't feel tonight, it would have been better. Overall, a very compelling story about yourself. And thank you again for being so vulnerable and telling us about your journey. Sorry, back to General Evaluator.
Thank you, Toastmaster Susanna. Yes, Javier, it's great to hear about your story and where you've been, and certainly your take on life and your path that you're following. Before we ask for the reports from the grammarian and the counter, while they prepare for those, we will be doing our voting for best speeches and evaluators back to back. So I pass it over to our vote counters.
I'm sorry, did I miss something?
We will be doing our voting now, I believe. Are those ready?
Yes, they are. I'm launching them as we speak.
This was Javier's icebreaker.
So please don't vote. It doesn't sound good, but maybe I'll just relaunch this vote here.
Just so everybody's aware, you're doing that because it was Javier's icebreaker, and he's an automatic winner for giving an icebreaker.
Thank you, Jack. That was a great explanation.
I don't see a relaunch.
Yes, I'm just going to go ahead and launch the second poll, and we'll come back to that poll if I can.
You think we can move on? In the meantime, you're doing that, so Justin can get the report out.
It should come.
Poll 2 is ready.
Okay.
Was Jack not on table topics? Did I miss something?
He went over.
I went over.
He went over time.
Oh, sorry. Thank you.
My battery was warning me it was running out, and I couldn't see the timer.
Okay, ending poll in 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1.
Great, thank you very much. Shay, please let me know when the other voting poll will be ready. In the meantime, may I have the grammarian report?
Thank you, Toastmaster Justin. General Evaluator, the word proactive was used properly one time during the meeting. I heard the following grammatical errors or awkward use of language. I heard the performances I showed up as, could have said something like the character I showed up as. I also heard set my life forever. And that speaker could have said something like change my life forever. I heard the phrase still have room for extra. And they could have said something like with room to spare. I also heard the phrase way less, and the proper grammatical term would have been something like far less, not way less. I heard a lot of notable words and phrases, some really great vocabulary and descriptive language. I heard bring us home to our souls. I heard the destruction was unparalleled and the devastation was excruciating. What I saw was unfathomable. I heard the phrase, the weight of my thoughts brought me to my knees. Also heard the phrase, please buckle up and get ready to travel with me. I thought that was a really great descriptive use of language to take us along on your journey. And finally, I heard the phrase, achieving a goal is not the end, it's the beginning of a new journey. Inspirational. That concludes my grammarian's report. Toastmaster Justin.
Thank you, Toastmaster Michael Genduso. Certainly tonight was chock full of lots of great quotes for you, so made your job hopefully a little bit easier. Okay, I believe now the next poll is ready, so please go ahead and launch that.
Closing poll in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
And opening up to our all counters reports.
General evaluator. The total number of fillers used by the club today is 22. The most fillers used by a member was 5. The most commonly used filler today, word used today was used 11 times. The following Toastmasters proactively did not use any filler words during this meeting: Micheline, Shastri, Latifa, Shay, Connie, and Stacy. That concludes my counter report, General Evaluator.
Well, great job, everyone who did not use filler words today. It was definitely improving, I think, in that area. Moving on now to my report. Toastmaster of the day, Toastmaster Sobia, fantastic job. You continue to impress me every time you speak. From when we first saw you day one to today is just miles difference. I mean, it's fantastic to see you and your confidence and your preparedness. Certainly today, you're very prepared and you've done this role several times and you continue to improve on that. Transitions were great. Speakers were absolutely fantastic tonight. Evaluators were fantastic. I think the whole theme of this meeting, preparedness, was just perfectly embodied by every single role. Everybody did a fantastic job. Kudos to everybody. The only thing that went wrong really was the voting thing, but I think that's because we didn't have anybody sign up to be vote counter. So whatever. Fantastic job, everybody. We'll finish on time. Everybody was greeted. Great to see everybody, and that's my report. Back to you, Toastmaster Day, Toastmaster Sevilla.
Thank you, Toastmaster Justin Nguyen. So we already have all timers report, everything. And I want to say, I'm sorry, I don't know why I made the same mistake twice, being the Toastmaster, that after the first speaker, I went back to the timer. I really don't know what's wrong with my script, but I will make sure that next time it won't happen. So ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for your participation today in tonight's meeting. And it's been my pleasure to serve as your Toastmaster of the day. Please welcome back our club president, Toastmaster Shastri Stewart.
Thank you, Sylvia. Wonderful job as always, and I'm so glad to see your evolution. But one thing I'd note to you though is never apologize and don't highlight something that you did wrong, because most of us didn't notice. So just, you know, keep it on the DL, and then we can talk about it later after the meeting. But great job, thank you. All right, a few things. First off, I want to really talk to our guests. So we have 3 guests today. Michelle. So Michelle, what does a great Toastmasters club look to you?
I think this club embodies what a great Toastmaster club meant to me, in that you guys have criticized but positively encouraged each other, and even the guests and members alike. So I think this is what I'm really encouraged by, and I'm spurred on to, you know, keep being here and showing up as my authentic self.
Thank you, Michelle. And I love your background, by the way. Lovely.
I want to point out.
Go ahead.
I want to point out that as of today, Michelle is our newest member. Round of applause.
Yay! All right. Great job. Congratulations, Michelle. All right, Maribel, what does a great Toastmasters club look like to you?
Well, I don't have anything else to compare this to. So based on today, I guess I can concur with Michelle, and a great Toastmaster looks like constructive criticism. It looks like, you know, not letting the negative things slide, but instead using that to kind of excel and learn from it for the next time. It looks like participation and grace and encouragement. So I appreciate seeing all that.
Thank you, Maribel, and we loved having you today. And please feel free to join us in the next coming weeks.
Thank you.
All right, Woodland, you're welcome. Woodland, what does a great Toastmasters club look like to you?
Great Toastmasters club looks like positivity and constructive criticism.
Great, I appreciate it. And once you join our club, we'll work diligently to try to get you out of that shell. But thank you. And lastly, Matthew, what does a great Toastmasters club look like to you?
Well, to me, a great Toastmasters club looks like progression. Every week, if you get better, that's really what it looks like to me. I mean, I don't have anything to compare this to other than like a couple weeks ago. So if I just see progression every single time, then that's what a great Toastmasters club looks like to me.
Excellent. Thank you, Matthew, and feel free to join us in the next coming weeks. All right, so I'll move on to announcements.
There's one more guest, Christina.
Christina, did I miss her? Where is she? Christina? Oh, Christina, I'm so sorry. I can't believe I missed you. And what does a great Toastmasters club look like to you?
I don't want you see me, but you see me. Okay, Toastmaster for me means a lot to me because I like to improve my conversation and knowledge, because you work with a different type of word and how to use this word and this speech the right way. I agree with the other two ladies say, okay, everybody, I think we are in the same point, all right?
All right, thank you, Christina. Thank you so much. And please feel free to join us in the next coming weeks. All right, so I'll move on to our announcements. We actually have 2 announcements. One, evaluation contest is next week. Everything is set and ready. We have all our speakers, our chair, and thank you to Shay for getting all that done and ready by next week. So thank you so much, Shay, for doing that. Secondly is very important, our dues are due by Saturday, the 26th of September. I believe
tomorrow.
Jack sent out it. Okay, Jack sent out an email. So Jack, if you want to elaborate.
Yeah, I sent an email, and the best way to pay is via Venmo. I have an account that I'm only trying to use there. If we have to, we have a credit card way, and I've had some people reach out and want to do it that way. But the Venmo, or mail me a check. I'll send that email out again. A check is even actually the best way, because that way we don't have to pay anything. We lose 1% or 2% when we start using cards. But the sooner you get it in, the better off we are. I thank you.
Thank you, Jack. Thank you so much. So guys, please try to get that in as soon as you can. All right, without any other announcements, I'll adjourn the meeting. We are now adjourned.
We can't forget the winners for today. So I'll go quickly.
Oh,
and
yeah. Oh,
the winners.
Yeah, okay.
So our winners for today, drum roll, please. Best speaker, we have Natifa Oforiata. Congratulations. And again, Javier gave his his icebreaker speech, so he's automatically a winner. We'll give him a round of applause as well. Best evaluator, another drum roll. Brendan, sorry, pronouncing your last name, but Brendan, Toastmaster Brendan is our best evaluator. And for table topics, none other than Connie Andrews. Thank you.
Congratulations to all. All right, now we are adjourned. Have a good night, everybody.
Night, everybody.
Good night.